Let's jump right into today's explainer. We are looking at a completely fascinating, honestly kind of unbelievable case study in extreme wealth, raw ambition, and human psychology. On the surface, it looks like the absolute perfect dream. But today, we're peeling back the curtain. We're going to explore the wild, jarring dichotomy between this surface-level extreme wealth and the really intense, sometimes dark psychological reality underneath it all. Trust me, the actual cost of this lifestyle is definitely not what you might think. Okay, let's dive into this. $85 million. That is the staggering net worth of Iman, a software entrepreneur. And here's the absolute kicker. He is only 23 years old. Literally 23. In just 6 or 7 years of running his own business, he's become more financially successful than 99.9% of the planet. It's a number that just jolts you, right? But the real story we're unpacking today isn't just the money. It's how he got here, how he manages it, and the incredibly unique way he views the world around him. To really wrap our heads around the extreme financial stakes of his day-to-day life, we have to look at the numbers. This is pure shock and awe luxury. Eman is currently renting a villa on the ultra-exclusive Palm in Dubai. His rent? $50,000 every single month. And his neighborhood is just wild. Houses down the street are selling for $35 million, with some valued at $100 million. He casually drops £2.9 million in cash on an offer for a place in London. And that watch collection? We're talking £2 million just sitting in a box. It is the life millions dream about, completely realized at 23. But I want you to ask yourself this. If you had $300 million, would you still buy the exact same house? Iman asked this question to explain his relentless, constant upward trajectory. You see, he actually prefers renting that $50,000 a month villa over buying right now. Why? Well, because to him, spending $10 million on a luxury penthouse makes absolutely zero sense when there's always going to be a newer, nicer penthouse built tomorrow. He views his entire life as a continuous escalation. Settling down simply isn't an option. So, Section 1, the origin story, escaping the wrong beliefs. How exactly does a 23-year-old develop this kind of intense drive? Well, it all starts with the rather dark origins of his ambition. He says, if their beliefs are wrong, then that puts you in a bit of a sticky situation. Eman is actually talking about his absent father here. He grew up in a single-parent household because his mother left his alcoholic, abusive father when she was pregnant. But here's the fascinating twist. Eman views not having his father around not as a tragedy, but as an incredible advantage. He firmly believes that having a bad role model in the house is actually way more dangerous than having no father at all, purely because of the mental baggage you're forced to carry. And this brilliantly illustrates his exact theory. Eman explains that if you grow up with a parent, you naturally absorb their mindset. It's like a sponge. You might inherit 20%, 50%, or even 80% of their beliefs. For instance, older generations often pass down incredibly restrictive views on things like borrowing money, fears lingering all the way from World War II. By not having his father around, Eman feels he was completely saved from being infected by those limiting generational mentalities. He was a blank slate. And that freed him up to think entirely differently about risk and wealth. Moving to Section 2, the mindset of the 1%. Because getting to $85 million by 23 doesn't just happen by accident, and it certainly isn't just about luck. Eman identifies several really specific psychological traits for his success. First off, a genetic, natural-born high-stress tolerance. He also very openly admits to having an intense superiority complex. He genuinely believes you have to think you're destined for more than the masses to actually join the 1%. He also relies heavily on rapidly adapting to life circumstances, but here is the crucial distinction he makes. Getting rich is difficult, sure, but staying in that position and maintaining that sheer intensity at the very top, that is where legends are truly made. But what is the true hidden price of that relentless ambition? It's sacrificing your sanity. Eman is incredibly transparent that to achieve what he has at his age, you have to sacrifice a massive amount. The heavy personal toll, the unyielding, grinding stress, it all comes at the direct cost of your peace of mind. In fact, he explicitly warns that most people wouldn't actually want his success if they knew the immense mental price tag attached to it. Which brings us to a super fascinating contrast in how he views ultimate success. You'd think he wants to be on the cover of Forbes, right? Wrong. Eman actively avoids wanting to become a recognizable billionaire. He draws a really sharp line between public billionaires on the world's rich lists and hidden wealth, like certain Middle Eastern families. He points out that the Qatari royals possess wealth that completely dwarfs the top public billionaires combined, yet they aren't paraded around on rich lists. Eman fears the massive responsibility, the public scrutiny, and the control from above that comes with public billionaire status. He wants the extreme wealth, absolutely, but he wants to remain hidden. Section 3. The paradox of luxury. When you reach this tier of wealth, it completely warps your perspective on reality. When you can literally afford to buy absolutely any experience on planet Earth, what actually brings you joy? You'd probably assume it's constant glamour, but the reality is surprisingly grounded. So the crucial point is how drastically his experiences contrast with one another. On one hand, Iman went on this heavily manufactured, ultra-exclusive safari that cost $100,000, and he absolutely hated it. He joked that there are only so many times you can watch a lion lick itself. But on the other hand, his absolute best memory of the entire year was sleeping in a simple tent in Nepal. It perfectly juxtaposes extreme manufactured luxury against grounded, stripped-back reality. Which leads us perfectly to this beautifully simple statement of his. I'd rather just walk in Paris. Despite the private jets, the Maybachs he's looking to buy, and the multi-million-dollar villas, his true craving leans toward everyday reality. He finds basically no joy in overpriced, hyped-up excursions designed for the ultra-rich. He just wants the simple pleasure of walking in a beautiful city. It's a pretty stark contrast to his $50,000 monthly rent, isn't it? Now, what's really fascinating is how he justifies the extreme luxuries he does actually indulge in, like that £2 million watch collection. While he loves simple experiences, he isn't exactly giving away his fortune. He views high-end watches through a purely strategic lens. To him, they are easily liquid assets. You can buy and sell them as you please, and you rarely lose money on them. So he rationalizes his luxury not as flashy toys to show off, but as calculated, highly rational investments. Which brings us to our final question, and I really want you to sit with this one for a second. Is sacrificing your sanity worth $85 million? We've seen the 50 grand a month villas, the liquid millions in watches, and the endless upward trajectory. But we've also seen the dark origins, the intense superiority complex, and the heavy burden of continuous grinding stress. When you weigh the ultimate cost of this 1% lifestyle against your own definition of happiness, peace, and success, what is your number?